What's up, guys? Welcome to the 330 Sports Show. I'm Justin Coffin. We're going to do our Cleveland Browns and NFL look here real quick. Before we get going, I do want to send out our best wishes. I'm actually recording the show from Boardman, Ohio tonight, and want to send best wishes to Bernie Kosar. He received a liver transplant this weekend. I know he was not in good health before that, but do want to send out best wishes to Bernie Kosar. Obviously starred here at Boardman High School as a Boardman Spartan, later went on to Miami, the Hurricanes, and now obviously a Cleveland Browns legend. Greg Kirchner and I, both a Boardman High School grads. So Greg, growing up real quick, before we get into some, other Browns talk, let's spend a couple minutes just on what were your memories. Now, Bernie's a little bit older than us, but growing up, we always knew stories about Bernie, and I think he was like pretty much like a local legend from as far as back as I can remember. So what were your memories growing up of Bernie Kosar?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first memories of him was really him being on the Browns and like those the Browns teams that of our youth. My uncle actually played on the Boardman High School football team with Bernie, so that's kind of a cool little nugget. So, but yeah, he was just this guy, and he didn't really appreciate it at the time. It's like, oh, it's the Browns quarterback's like from your hometown. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's cool. That's yeah, but now it's like you looking back, it's like holy, it's really just little old Boardman, Ohio. I mean, it's a huge deal. So it's great to see that he seems to be doing well so far, and we wish him all the best in health and recovery, and and all of that. So good guy, and a Cleveland and Youngstown sports legend.
absolutely. Yeah, I know it was a little touch and go there for a while, and he's obviously had his health issues, but yeah, wishing him all the best. But yeah, growing up, it was always, that was like the heyday of the Browns for us. You had Bernie and Eric Metcalf and Webster Slaughter and Reggie Langhorne and Ozzie Newsome. I mean, that is just like so much fun. And then like on the defensive side of the ball, Eric Turner or Clay Matthews, there's just some Frank Minifield,
For Dixon, yeah.
just there were so many guys, but like, obviously any successful team has a quarterback that's going to do well. And, like how long have the Browns been searching for a quarterback, and how crazy is it? Like, outside of maybe Baker or 1 year of Derek Anderson or 1 year of Tim Couch, like the best quarterback the Browns have had in the last 35, 40 years has been from right here in Youngstown, Ohio. So great story. But again, wishing Bernie all the best and, going forward. And great to see he got a liver transplant. And I did see, I don't have the whole story, so I don't want to touch on it, but I did see, a kid that had passed away at a very young age, and like his liver was the one that did go to Bernie. So, like for all those people out there, be an organ donor if you can, if that's something that you're, if you're not sure, I mean, you don't have to do it, but like it may save someone's life. And in this case, it truly did. So Bernie, we wish you all the best and hope you're doing well. And, we're thinking about you. So, now that was like more of our positive spin. Let's go back to the negatives here. So, Browns, Ravens, unfortunately, Bernie wasn't quarterbacking this team, but, the Browns fall to 2-8 on the season. Myles Garrett, again, just such a dominating force. We're going to talk about him in just a minute. Devin Bush had a pick six in this game, the only offensive touchdown for the Browns, or the only touchdown in this game for the Browns, I should say. Dylan Gabriel went into concussion protocol, which obviously leads to Shedeur Sanders' first NFL action. We're going to talk about that here in a second. The Browns went scoreless in the second half. The Ravens sweep the Browns for the first time, believe it or not, since 2020, which was the Browns' best year in a long time. So, And next up, we're going to talk about that towards the end of the show. But the Browns are at the Las Vegas Raiders coming up. So you look at the schedule. You got Vegas. You're back home for the 49ers, the Titans, and then you're at the Bears for the next 4. So I like to chunk the season in like 4-game segments. But you got a couple winnable games in there. I'd say 2 out of the next 4 are very winnable for the Browns. This week, I think they're 3.5-point dogs. We'll talk about that game soon. But overall, just like your initial thoughts from that Browns-Ravens game this past weekend.
Yeah, and it was like, I know we've been negative a lot. I mean, just the defense continues to be phenomenal. Like we do have the tendency, especially at home in recent years, of playing the Ravens really tough. And Lamar Jackson seems to have a tough time with the Browns D, and that continued. So a lot of really good things. You can't, in my opinion, you can't really put too much on Shedeur for his performance in the second half. I mean, it wasn't good. Did he show flashes that maybe there's some ability there? Yeah, I think he did a little bit. But, he looked like a guy who wasn't ready to play. But guess what? He actually wasn't ready to play because it seems like there was really no effort made to make him ready to play. So, again, more questions on really the coaching staff on this one, or just what's going on. It's kind of been this whole thing all year, like what's going on with Shedeur, like why does Stefanski almost not even want to talk about him playing? It almost seems like from what's come out a little bit, like there was no plans to play him this year, but with Gabriel's injury, he came in and, having taken no first team reps and just seemingly just not ready whatsoever. Like, who's to blame on that? And if he wasn't ready to play, why is he the backup quarterback? Like, why isn't Bailey Zappi the backup quarterback?
Right.
And Shedeur is your third quarterback. So, again, Shedeur's had his maturity issues, maybe has his maturity issues. We don't see what's happening at practice. We don't see what maybe he's doing, and maybe he's, already turned himself off to the coaching staff, and they're kind of not wanting to play him. But it's still just a very, very confusing situation. But I think we'll get a much better idea of how he is next week with a full week of practice. But yeah, it's wrong to pin the game on him. I don't think necessarily people were, but he did the best he could given the circumstances. It didn't look good, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
One of the things I did hear Kevin Stefanski and the Browns have done are providing extra like practice sessions, because they are a very loaded rookie team, with Fannin and Judkins and Bond and Schlesinger and, throw in whoever you want. And obviously the 2 quarterbacks especially, but they're doing like these extra practices or extra sessions that are very unique. But I did see a lot of quarterbacks, former quarterbacks that are now like broadcasters and stuff, post things out on social media. I would love to hear what Peyton Manning would have to say about this, especially. But they would say basically the backup doesn't get much work, like in a normal NFL scenario. But like when it's rookies, and you have 2 of them especially, and then they did that. The whole thing, to me, the flaw was going back and making this a 4 quarterback race or whatever you want to say. Like that was just dumb to begin with. And that whether that's put on Barry or whoever, like Stefanski's got to coach the guys no matter who's there. But it's like, never do that again. Never do that again. Like 3, okay, that's fine. 1 guy, hey, you're the third string guy, whatever. And if it's going to be a 2-man race, that's fine. Split the snaps, whatever. But you cannot split 4 ways and expect these guys to be successful. Like, it's just not going to work. So, and I think you're seeing that now. Well, has Joe Flacco done? Like, did he need all the snaps? Probably not. Did Kenny Pickett, like, maybe that was a mistake trading him to the Raiders. Maybe we might even see him this weekend playing against us. Who knows with the way Geno Smith's been playing and the Raiders offense has been struggling. But either way, you're down to Shedeur Sanders and Bailey Zappi. And as a Browns franchise, you probably knew, even they said they were going to redshirt him, that it was probably going to get to this point with your shitty offensive line. And, the way these seasons tend to end up playing out is, most teams end up playing 2, if not 3 quarterbacks in a season. So, you got to get them ready. But maybe to play them at this point, this early on, probably wasn't in the cards.
So then why would he be the backup? That's my problem, right?
Yeah.
It's like, then, if he's not, that's the thing. You had a backup that really wasn't ready to play, and it's not fair to him. And maybe he's been an asshole, and maybe Kevin Stefanski doesn't like him and doesn't care. I mean, but if it is, that's pretty shitty too. But I don't know. I don't get it, but we'll see how he does with a week of practice.
So he is playing this week. He's starting in Vegas. And that building is not an easy place to play. There will be a lot of Browns fans in the building. It's a fun trip out to Vegas. We made that trip out there last year. It was a great time. But that's a lot of eyes on him. For an offense that hasn't really clicked with Joe Flacco, didn't really click that much with Dylan Gabriel, and we'll see. I will say he did make a couple throws that I was like, you know what? That was refreshing to see. There was a throw to Gage Larvadan in the end zone that would have tied the game, and it was actually a hell of a throw and a great play by the defender to break it up. Obviously he had a bad pick 6 and a couple sacks. You cannot keep drifting back. That is, I don't know how you break that habit. It's a bad habit. You could tell he's played a lot of Madden in his life, because he just keeps drifting back, and he probably could get away with that a ton at Colorado, but you can't get away with that in the NFL. Keep drifting back and drifting back. It's not going to work, because you're turning a 10-yard throw into a 20 or 30-yard throw that isn't going to amount for much, and your shot of getting sacked or throwing a pick, it just increases that much. Just throw the ball away, learn to live another down. And, there's something to be said about, he holds the ball a little bit longer to try to make a play. And part of me is you know what? I can live with that. I can live with a couple sacks, as long as they're not these 20-yard sacks. If it's a 5-yard sack here and there, or, you throw a pick here and there, we are in one thing I think as Browns fans we get away from is the NFL is an entertainment business, right? It's just like any other sport or a movie or whatever. You watch it to be excited, to hope your team wins, to hope whatever outcome you're rooting for goes your way. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. As a Browns fan, it often doesn't. But we are in the entertainment business, and hopefully, at the very least, Shedeur Sanders will inject some entertainment into this team. And hopefully he's ready to play, but hopefully he can make a couple big plays, limit the bad plays, limit the turnovers, limit the sacks, but and he's got to get a little tighter with that ball too. I think he fumbled once at least that I counted, but he's a little loose with the football too. So you can see though, his arm talent is very good, and he will take some chances. He reminds me a little bit of Jameis Winston in that sense of, I hate to do a lazy take and compare a black quarterback to a black quarterback, but, he does remind me of Jameis Winston. He's a little bit of a gunslinger, a little bit of he's going to try to make a big play, but sometimes will hold on to the ball or throw a pick. But what's your thoughts on this weekend and just him in general as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think we even said it a week or two ago, that's with Gabriel, it was well, he really never did anything. I can't think of one play he made all season where it was holy crap, that was an unbelievable throw or unbelievable play. But he made some solid throws, and but he made a lot of, it was very a lot of short passes, a lot of high percentage throws, and a lot of throwaways and things like that. So we know Sanders is going to going to sling it around a little bit, like you said. And he's probably going to make 3 or 4 or 5 plays in this game. That's like, oh, wow, those were great plays. The problem is he may make 2 or 3 or 4 really bad plays. And unfortunately, it only takes like one really bad play to potentially derail an entire game. But I am excited to see how he does. And I do think it will inject some life into this team. And with a full week of preparation and having that opportunity and playing against a team that, is beatable. Not, the Ravens are banged up. They're not the Ravens that we thought they were going to be this year, at least at this point. But they're still
still a damn good team.
So coming into that situation against the Ravens with no rep really was just not fair to him. So to assess him. So I'm excited. I mean, it'll be the first Browns game that I've been kind of like semi-excited to watch probably for 6 weeks. So, that's saying something. That being said, we got Myles Garrett. They got Max Crosby on their side. That's a guy that's going to be pinning his ears back and ready to make this first start a bad one for Shedeur. So he's going to have to be ready. And I'm sure, I hope the game plan is, a little bit simplified for him and, especially early, get him acclimated into the game with some short passes, but he can make some plays with his feet and he can make some plays down the field given the right opportunity. So excited to see it. I don't know how it'll go. I don't know if you have the stat here, but I think Browns quarterbacks are 0-17 in their first start.
I do not have that start, but
so,
that sounds right.
That doesn't bode so well. That and him being a rookie, but you just never know. I mean, he does have a little bit of an it factor about him. I do think the guys in the locker room seem to take a liking to him a little bit. He's got a little bit of respect in the locker room. He may not have it with the coaching staff. I'm not sure. I mean, he's definitely, he's immature. All right. He's Deion Sanders' kid. So he kind of he's got a little bit of like a, born with a silver spoon in his mouth kind of entitlement. And he's just young, right? I mean, sitting on the bench pouting after the game. I mean, I get it. He's young. He hasn't, faced a lot of adversity in his life, but then I guess he went in the locker room and made a speech in front of the team. So it's like, I think it's there that the leadership characteristics are there. The ability to be a decent quarterback is there, but it takes so much work on and off the field, in the film room to get yourself ready. And I think this will also be a test of how well he's readied himself throughout the season. For this potential opportunity, or if he's kind of sulked and not worked as hard as he should, and now he's trying to catch up.
And as we talked about Bernie Kosar earlier in the broadcast, I think like every single Browns fan wants every single quarterback to succeed. Now, pushing back on that, even contradicting my own statement, I think there were a lot of Shedeur only fans that were rooting against Dillon Gabriel to fail, which is very disappointing. But now that we've kind of seen what Dillon Gabriel is in the NFL, hopefully Shedeur can step up, be the guy, because if we don't have to use a draft pick on a quarterback, that would be fantastic. But again, let's give this guy a chance, see what happens, and at the very least, let's hope he makes the games entertaining, keeping us in it, and hopefully winning us a few of these. If he's going to be the quarterback going forward, you have at least 50% of your next 4 games that are very winnable. So let's fuck around and find out. Let's see what happens. You had mentioned Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. Let's talk about Myles Garrett real quick. Look at these numbers. So through 10 games, 29 tackles, 22 tackles for loss. Last year, by the way, Myles Garrett had 22 tackles for loss. That led the NFL. He has the same number right now through 10 games. He has 1 forced fumble, 15 sacks on the season with 7 games left to go. He has the most sacks in a career before turning 30. I think he'll be 30 on December 29th. I believe. So he's coming up on his 30th birthday, but he's got several games to go. And he has recorded at least 12 sacks in 6 consecutive seasons. So 2020 through this season, which is a record. No other player, not Reggie White, not Michael Strahan, no other player has done that since 1982, since sacks became a stat. The NFL single season record, by the way, is 22 and a half, which a guy in Pittsburgh once had, and he tied Michael Strahan with that number. So Myles Garrett, very, very doable to reach the all-time record of sacks in a season. So he needs, was he at 15? He's got to get 8 more to break the record. So very doable. So just real quick thoughts on Myles Garrett's performance, last game and as a whole.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's really ascended to probably overwhelmingly the best defensive player in the NFL, definitely the best defensive lineman in the NFL. Kind of a one-man wrecking crew, although you got to give some of our interior linemen some credit too for opening up the opportunities for him to get one-on-ones. But he's got to really be salivating this week looking at Geno Smith and that Raiders offensive line. Geno is kind of notorious for getting sacked a lot and holds on to the ball a little bit. And the Cowboys, who are not a defensive juggernaut necessarily, they did have Quentin Williams, from playing his first game, but they got after Smith hard on Monday night. So 8 sacks to break the record. He's got to be thinking, I guess, you're thinking about winning games, obviously, but you're thinking about the stats too. You got to think that he's going to put a crooked number up on Sunday, 2, 3, 4, who knows? But he should have plenty of opportunities to do that.
And you bet your ass,
especially if Chip Kelly calls a lot of passing plays like he did on Monday. So,
well, you bet your ass he knows what that record is and how many he's got to get. And as long as he's healthy, I think he's gonna do everything he can to get that number by the end of the year. And if you're playing on a 2-8 football team, what more do you have to play for than getting an individual statistic? So, the defense overall, you can't blame the defense. They're stepping up. They're playing well. Your defensive backs are playing well. Your linebackers are playing really well. Devin Bush really stepping up. But Carson Schlesinger might be the defensive rookie of the year, the way he's playing. And then obviously Myles Garrett. So you got guys on all 3 levels that are doing some great stuff with, Ward and Del Pitt on the back end. Ronnie Hickman's playing well. You got your linebackers playing well. And then Myles Garrett obviously leads the defensive line. So good stuff there. Let's go on to our 2-minute drill, one thought from each game. And Greg, I'm going to ask you to give me one sentence from each of these games. So let's start with Patriots Jets, and all I will say is, cha-ching, cash those parlays on the Patriots.
Yeah, I just say Pats keep winning. They just keep winning.
They're a damn good team right now, 9-2. Dolphins 16, Commanders 13. Disappointed in the Commanders. Thought they'd get this one done, but your thought?
Yeah, Mike McDaniel's back.
That's swaggy son of a bitch.
He really almost fucked up that game with the 4th down call.
And that game, by the way, in Madrid, kind of cool there too.
Yeah.
Panthers 30, Falcons 27 in overtime. I think Falcons are just like freaking dog shit right now. So your thought?
Yeah, that's really, I was going to say Falcons are done and really disappointing because they're a talented team.
Yeah. And I think Penix is done for the year now as well. So you're going to see some Kirk Cousins in there.
It's just not going to be any better for him.
No. Bills 44, Bucks 32. Josh Allen, I think 6 touchdowns in this game total. So your thought on that one?
Yeah, Josh Allen doing his best Bo Brungard impression with 3 rushing and 3 passing touchdowns. So
great stuff. Great stuff. Texans. Squeak went out over the Titans, over the 1-9 Titans to get to 500 though on the season, 16-13. Your thought on that game?
Yeah. Did anybody actually watch this game?
No one watched. Bears 19, Vikings 17. All I'll just say is that game was not as close as the final score.
Yeah. JJ McCarthy, I think, is just downright bad. And
hate to see it. Hate to see it. Packers 27, Giants 20. Your thought?
Yeah, you said it with Shedeur. I mean, Jameis makes games fun, and he made this game fun for the Giants, but the Packers kind of, despite their best efforts, got it done.
Jamar Chase spit on who was it? Jalen Ramsey in this game. Jalen Ramsey acted kind of like a freaking little bitch in this game, but he got ejected. But unfortunately, Jamar Chase will be suspended next week. But Steelers just with a dominant second half blow out the Bengals in this one to get a little revenge. Your thought on that one?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know how long Rodgers is going to be out, but that was I think it amounted to about a $500,000 loogie from Jamar Chase with the game check fees.
There are can think of many other ways to spend $500,000 instead of that. Maybe the most surprising outcome of last week: Jaguars 35, Chargers 6. Your thought on that one?
Yeah, very shocking and unfortunately not a great result for the Browns, but it's hard to figure out either of those two teams, which one's good, which one's bad. I thought the Chargers are good, but they their offensive line might be catching up to them.
Yep. Really good game here. Rams, Seahawks. Rams get it done 21-19. Your thought?
Yeah, two great teams, really top tier teams in a great football game. And yeah, the Rams, maybe the favorites in the NFC right now with that win.
Agreed. 49ers 41, Cardinals 22. Your thought on that one?
I think a lot of people, including me, are sleeping on the 49ers right now. And an interesting side note that Jacoby Brissett now owns the record for most pass completions in an NFL game, which is kind of nuts.
Unbelievable. It was like, what was it, 47?
Yeah.
47 completions.
I would have thought somebody had hit 50 before. It didn't seem, when I saw it, I wasn't like, oh my God, that's like the most completions I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they were behind, so I mean, he had to throw, but he threw. Yeah, any of these guys I would love to have back in Cleveland. I mean, Brissett with this defense, like we could probably win eight games.
Exactly. We already touched on our game. Broncos 22, Chiefs 19. Broncos moved to 9-2, and the Chiefs are 500 at 5-5. Your thought?
Yeah, the Broncos keep finding a way, and the Chiefs now, there's some legit concern. They play the Colts this week. There's some legit concern about their ability to make the playoffs. I'm not sad about it, but it's a concern.
Exactly. I agree. Former Youngstown State Penguin, Jaleel McLaughlin, with a touchdown in that game for the Broncos, taking over kind of J.K. Dobbins' role as he's injured for this season. Next one, Eagles 16, Lions 9. Eagles shut down that Lions offense. Your thought?
Yeah, when the Eagles win boring, but they win. And when Jared Goff is bad, he is fucking terrible. It's kind of amazing.
Well said. And then Cowboys offense looks great. 33, Raiders 16. Raiders looked so bad in that game. Your thought?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if you saw that. Lamb and Pickens sat the first series, and I think they said that CeeDee Lamb was like throwing up in a Vegas casino at like 7:30 in the morning on Monday morning, and that kind of led to it. So Vegas, baby. I don't know, but nonetheless, the Cowboys great offense and their defense looked pretty solid, and who knows? Like they like to make things interesting.
Vegas will always make things interesting for sure. The city more so than the team. All right, real quick look. Last week's games, we both go 9-6. Split our dual picks there. So we're both 103, 60, and 1 on the season. So overall, not too bad. This week, let's take a look at the AFC North. Steelers still hold a 1-game lead. They're at the Bears this week. I have not checked the lines on any of these games outside the Browns. but I would imagine the Steelers are a small underdog in that game. I'll take a look, but
they probably won't have Rodgers, but I don't know that makes that big of a difference really
yeah,
with him or Mason Rudolph.
Mason
But they may
Rudolph
not have Jalen Warren too. That I guess that depends. I think that would be a bigger loss than not having Rodgers, although Kenneth Gainwell has been really good. So Steelers just figure out a way.
But like, I mean, you look at this and it's like Vegas knows something. The Baltimore, it's been weird, like the way these lines have been since the Ravens have been 1-5. And they're one game back at the Steelers. They still have 2 games left with them. And they're minus 270 to win the division.
And I don't know if that's just more of an indictment on the Steelers than it is because the Ravens, again, I picked them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. They've had a ton of injuries. They don't look good. They really haven't looked good. They looked all right in the Miami Thursday night game, but that was Miami. It's not like you can't. The best they looked all year was in the Buffalo game, the for opening game of the season that they lost. But since then, with all the injuries, they're just they're the Ravens, but kind of like Ravens in name only. And so it's got to be just not a lack of belief in the Steelers, being as good as their record shows.
And the Ravens, though, I mean, they got some very, very winnable. They have
maybe the schedule probably plays into it as well.
The Jets, they got 2 with the Bengals. They got a game with the Steelers. They do have the Patriots and they're at the Packers. But I mean.
But those Bengals games probably will both have Joe Burrow playing.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a great point. So, to be determined as the AFC North turns. But look real quick at the AFC and NFC standings. Patriots, Steelers, Colts, and Broncos lead the divisions. In the AFC, Eagles, Bears, Bucks, and Rams. It always is interesting. There's a lot of teams in the hunt, and one of those teams in the hunt right now are the Kansas City Chiefs, who have to fight. I think they're the 9th team in the AFC right now. So something just tells me they're going to be a wild card team, but they're going to find a way to get in. Just my opinion, but it's
most likely. But I mean, they do have the Colts this week coming off a bye. And sometimes it's you with these teams, and I'm with you. I think they'll make their way in. But sometimes it's you think you just assume the Chiefs are going to make it until they don't, and sometimes it's just as quick as that, right? And you think Kelsey's getting older. Mahomes had a great start to the season. He's struggled a little bit lately, and they do have a lot of weapons, but they don't have much of a running game. And it's maybe just that's kind of father times catching up with this version of the Chiefs. But
absolutely.
That being said, could they be 11-6 and end up making a run to the Super Bowl? They could, but it's going to have to be from a wild card spot, because being basically now 3 out from Denver, 3.5 out from Denver, I think that's a tall order, and having lost to them.
Yeah. I think they're going to relinquish the AFC West crown, but I still think they're getting in the playoffs. All right, let's get to our game here. Browns and Raiders. Browns at Raiders, same game as last year. This game was a little bit earlier in the season last year. The Raiders won that game, as we saw it, 20-16. If you remember, Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson actually hit Amari Cooper for an 85-yard touchdown in this game, and it got called back. Gave the Browns a 3-point lead. And then the Browns drive down right at the end of the game and just can't get it in the end zone. But overall, the Raiders lead this series 18-10. Both teams this season are 2-8, and Raiders currently are in a 5-game win streak against the Cleveland Browns. But the Raiders in that streak have probably been the Las Vegas Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, and the Los Angeles Raiders in that stretch. I'm not exactly sure, but Raiders 3.5-point favorites, and 36.5 is the total. So let's just go with it. Let's tell me your pick and who you think wins and why.
Yeah, well, I committed I kind of said this a week or two ago. As long as the Browns keep kind of playing the way they've been playing, I'm not gonna pick them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pick the Raiders in this game, and I'm gonna say it. And I'm going to kind of say that Vegas is going to have it fairly well right here. I'm going to say like 20-17. Um, I think it's going to come down to, can Shedeur take care of the football? I mean, obviously we got to make some things happen on offense, but can we avoid the big turnover? I guess really either team, right? I don't think like offenses are going to be scoring a whole lot in this game, but I do think there's going to be at least one big defensive play, and hopefully we're the ones making it because you got Geno and you got an inexperienced quarterback, and they both have shown the tendency to make a big mistake. Both teams have a really good pass rush. Both teams have a very suspect offensive line, and both teams really have a lack of offensive weapons, with the exception of like a Brock Bowers on the Raiders side. But the receivers kind of leave a lot to be desired, and Genty just hasn't been able to get anything going, and we've been really good against the run. So, I think all the factors are there for us to really have a good defensive performance, and the Raiders to struggle moving the ball on us. But I do worry about the big turnover. So it really just really, in my opinion, comes down to avoiding the big mistake. And I think there will be at least one big mistake made in this game.
Everything you just said makes a hell of a lot of sense and makes perfect sense. So with that said, I'm going to go Browns 20, Raiders 13.
Love it. I hope it's right.
The Brock Bowers scares me the most on the Raiders, more than Genty, more than any other player on the Raiders. Maybe Max Crosby, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm in for Shedeur this week. Let's get him a win. Let's make some big plays. Let's limit the turnovers. Let's limit the dumb plays. But I think this Browns defense is so good. I think this Raiders offensive line stinks. You could probably say the same thing reversed and say, this Browns offensive line stinks. This Browns team's not that good. But I think this, like I mentioned earlier, we're in an entertainment industry. I think this could be an entertaining game. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably going down to the fourth quarter. And I think the Browns find a way to get it done. And I don't think the Raiders score a ton of points. So I'm going to go 20-13. I'm on the Browns money line, and I'm going to take the under. Greg is also on the Browns to cover, but
slightly over.
Slightly over on this one. So that's our picks on this game. So we will.
Let's find a way to win for once instead of find another new way to lose.
Exactly. And again, we say good teams find a way to win, bad teams find a way to lose. Well, two bad teams in this game, at least this season. So something's got to give. So let's see what happens here. Here's our picks for the week. Usually we're only different on different on 3 or 4 games. Same this week. I'm on the Bears. Greg's on the Steelers. I'm on the Browns. Greg's on the Raiders. I'm on the Eagles. Greg is on the Cowboys. So we'll see. So one of us will take the lead this week, unless there's a tie in one of those 3 games. So we shall see. But we both like the Bills, Pats, Lions, Packers, Seahawks, Chiefs, Ravens, Cardinals, Saints. We both like the Saints, which is
interesting.
First time this year.
We're both really. I'm done with the Falcons. So
yeah. And then the teams on bye. You got the Dolphins, Broncos, Commanders, and Chargers. So interesting week in the NFL. Again, as always, real quick. Before we switch, real quick, final thoughts on the NFL before we go to the Cavs here.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting down. It's kind of getting down the home stretch. We're over halfway there, and in the typical NFL fashion, there's still curveballs every week. So
always,
we don't always know what you're going to get. It's hard to. obviously things are very wide open right now, and there are teams sitting on top of both conferences that you would not expect to see, and there are teams sitting outside the playoffs that you would be shocked to see. So lots of story left to come, definitely.
Absolutely.
And the narrative, nothing, the narrative, like the way the NFL narrative changes week to week is like nothing else in sports. So
it truly is. It's any given Sunday, I guess, as they say. So, all right, let's just spend about 5 minutes on the Cavs here to end this. So, haven't updated this since the game ended, but the Cavs are now 10-6, 6-3 at home, 4-4 against the Western Conference. Coming into this game, they were 12th in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating, and 9th overall in the NBA. But this is a really good team. But again, they're missing a lot of important pieces right now. But overall thoughts on the Cavs, and what you've seen, over the last week or two.
Yeah, I think if you look at Twitter and you would kind of read what everybody's kind of what a lot of the fan base is tweeting about the Cavs, and then you would just ask blindly, like, well, what's the Cavs record through 16 games? I think you'd say it's like 5-11, like the way people talk. So, we're still sitting near the top of the Eastern Conference, which is good. And it's a long season. We're 1/5 of the way through. But there are, and we're not healthy. Mm-hmm. But there are concerns, about the defensive. I know our defensive rating is good, but, with that doesn't really equal the eye test of what you see on defense. And
a
lot of defensive lapses, still not doing a great job securing defensive rebounds, and just overall struggle with physical teams, like the matchup tonight against the Rockets, although we battled back valiantly, and the Rockets are a really tough matchup. Their entire starting lineup is at least 6'7", but length, physicality, aggressive rebounding, and good hard defense gives us a lot of trouble. And it's kind of like, we go into each season hoping that's going to change, but it's kind of who we are right now. And I don't know how to really fix it. We showed a lot of really good defensive effort with some of our, Tomlin off the bench, Porter off the bench, Ball, like they bring a little bit more tenacity that you would want out of that second unit. I love Craig Porter Jr. So much. He continues to get better and better, but Mobley and Allen, Mobley, they're so good, but they just so many. Even just tonight, we allow so many offensive rebounds. We kind of allow ourselves to get pushed around so much, and it's it is a concern. So I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. This team's going to be fine. They're going to be good. Regular season, they're going to be fine. We're going to be a top 4 seed in the East. We may not be number 1. But the concern is still there for how far can this team really go? But also we'll see when we get Garland back and get everybody back, Strus back, what it's going to look a little different as well.
Yeah. To your point, I will say the best part of some of these early season struggles that I've seen though are guys like Craig Porter. Tomlin got, him and he got into it tonight with Smith, and it was that's good to see some freaking toughness and guys standing up. Last year in the playoffs, we let Mathurin just do whatever he wants and freaking injure one of our guys, and it's nobody does anything. Maybe that's good to see. So maybe you're taking some lumps early on, but that's going to lead to dividends down the road. So that's all I really got to say with that. I do want to share one stat, which is now 99 after tonight's game. But the Cavs have made 10 or more 3-pointers in 99 now consecutive games, which is a new NBA record. The streak began in the beginning of the 2024-2025 season, and the team has made 10 or more threes in every regular season game since, which is pretty remarkable. And they actually beat the Houston Rockets streak, which I think there was 96 not too long ago. So this team shoots the 3 ball. They shoot it at a high clip. They shoot it at a high percentage. But obviously, I think especially when you see Max Strus, Darius Garland back in the lineup. You're going to see this floor stretched a little bit more. You're going to see very competent 3-point shooting going up. But again, this team, not their whole self right now, but growing and learning on the way. But here's the rest of the November schedule. So you got the Pacers, Clippers, Raptors. F the Raptors. I'm so sick of seeing that team. The Hawks. And the Hawks are actually better without what's his name, a point guard. Yeah, it's like they play so much better without him. And then you got the Celtics at home. So hopefully that November 28th weekend will be a fun weekend for the state of Ohio. Go to Atlanta, beat the Hawks. Buckeyes can win against Michigan, and then come home and beat the Celtics on Sunday. So yeah.
There'll be a 8-game winning streak coming here at some point. Just kind of a matter of when. So I would just let's all take a breath, and just understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. We understand that there are concerns in this time of year. I think we would have been 15-1 at this point through 16 games, having just lost our first game. Yep. Where did that get us? So
exactly,
enjoy kind of what you have, and enjoy the fact that, there's probably only 10, 12 teams, not even. I mean, you could argue there's only one team that really can win the title this year the way OKC's playing, but realistically, there's probably 8 teams that can legitimately win the title, and we're one of them. So let's just enjoy that, and let's see how it all plays out, and allow us time to get healthy, allow the coaching staff some time to get the right mix of guys.
Yep.
And we want to be playing our best in April. And I think, unfortunately, last year we probably were playing our best that we play the entire year right now.
Yeah.
And so
exactly. Yeah. Let this team grow. Let them mesh together. Let them figure stuff out. And I think Atkinson and the rest of the coaching staff knows that a little bit. They knew they were going to be without Garland, without Strus. They were out without Hunter for quite a while. Mitchell sat a couple games. Mobley sat a couple games. It's going to be fine. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but you know what? They're still 10-6. I think they're still the two seed in the East right now too. So let's not get all stressed out about it. Final note too, we didn't get to talk about it because I think it happened when we were recording last week, but manager of the year, 2 times, 2-time winner, back-to-back seasons, 2-time, 2 seasons as a manager, and 2-time coach of the year, and Stephen Vogt for the Guardians. So just wanted to give him a shout out. Greg, before we close out, any thoughts on Stephen Vogt as 2-time manager of the year?
No, we got the right man in place. We've kind of known that. Now let's spend a little bit of money and give him a little bit more to work with next year. But he has done a phenomenal job at the helm. We love Tito, and he did great things in Cleveland. Vogt's picked up right where Tito left off, and kind of has raised the bar a bit. But yeah, if we can give him just a little more resources to play with as well, I think we can maybe make some noise here next season.
Amen. And baseball stuff starts heating up right about this time of year with like trades and free agents and all that stuff. So we'll keep a close eye on that. So for Greg, I'm Justin. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to tell a friend, share, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. So again, for Greg, I'm Justin. Everybody have a good night. Go Browns, go Cavs, go Guards, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow